Hi, my name is Linry, and these are 4 easy Easter nail arts or spring nail arts for beginners. What you need for these nail art looks is a brush, some dotting tools, and some patience for yourself. Nail art takes time and practice. Practice, practice. The biggest thing that nail art takes is practice. It is a skill set, and the more you work it, the better it will become. It is like working out. The more you lift, the more you'll be able to lift. And of course, I will also be showing you how to do these nail art looks on short nails, because I don't like the excuse your nails are too short to do nail art, because I don't believe that. I do the most unhinged thing and paint a teeny bit of my nail. It's gonna be a trend, okay guys? I'm a trendsetter. Fuck your soap nails. We're only painting the cuticles. Also, the white polish that I am using in this video is Orly's White Tips. I no longer support Orly as they did a collab with Harry Potter, and I just don't feel comfortable having a Orly polish constantly on screen. So I will not be having Orly on the side of my screen because I no longer support them, but I'm going to be continuing to use my products because it's just a waste to just let them sit there. So let's get into it. The first nail art look is a little rabbit. Little rabbits are so simple to use. As my base color, I used Color Club's Get Lost. I just painted a white polish over it using the wide flat brush to my advantage to create the curvature of the head. You just place the brush where you want it and then swipe down gently. This creates that beautiful curvature you're looking for the rabbit's head. I forgot to mention, if you do use the brush of your polish, please make sure to wipe it off and that it is clean when you put it back in the bottle. Because if you use the brush like that, there is a chance that you could pick up the base color that you used on your brush. So just make sure it's clean before you put it back in the bottle. And make sure to wrap your tips. When you do nail art, make sure to fully bring that polish down and fully wrap your tips, because when you top coat, it will shrink a little bit and you might lose that color just a teeny bit, and you might see the color underneath poking through. So make sure when you apply your white polish to wrap your tips. I then took my brush and painted little ears. Now, how you want to create that ear is you kind of want to just go in at a slight angle and just paint slightly down. So make sure you can see actually right here what I'm doing. I am anchoring myself. That pinky is resting on my pointer finger, creating an anchor so I can just fully bring my brush down straight and steadily. I struggle with shaky hands, and this stops the shakes just a bit. So you want to make sure you're anchoring yourself as well. That does not seem like a lot, but it is a big deal. Make sure you have proper support while you're painting these ears. That way your lines stay nice and straight. I then took Island Peas Twirl, a nice soft pink polish, and I just recreated the ear shape again, but a bit smaller. Just follow the ears a bit. And then I painted a small straight line just to level out the ears a little bit. Then I just took a dotting tool, and this is the easiest part. You can make the eyes as wonky as you want. You could put them as close together as you want. You could put them as far apart as you want. It will look cute no matter what. The eyes, you can't go wrong on, because either way it's gonna look cute. You can make them one higher than the other. It's gonna look absolutely adorable. I then sealed in my manicure with a quick dry top coat. My top coat this time around is KB Shimmer Clearly on Top, and I made sure my black polish was dry. I probably waited about 10 minutes for my polish to fully be dry before I top coated, and I've floated my top coat. This is critical. Especially, I forgot to say, I'm using Holo Taco's One Coat Black. Holo Taco's One Coat Black is so pigmented, it does have a tendency to bleed. So just make sure that polish is dry and you will be perfect. And of course, I do not like the excuse that I have short nails, I can't do nail art. So I have painted the same exact design on small nails. So if you are an extreme nail biter, or if you have a child in your life, or if you just have small nails, you have enough room to create art. You just have to make it a little bit shorter. Now, I did make a little bit of a mistake with this. I should have brought his head just down a little bit more. That way the ears are just a bit longer. So if you are working with shorter nails, just make sure the top of the head is just a bit further down. That way you have a little bit more length on the ears, as this nail is still really cute and I really do enjoy it, but it doesn't read as much as rabbit, and it would have read just a bit better if my head was just a little bit more down and I had a little bit more space for the ears to just be rabbit. For my next manicure, I started off with my base color being China Glaze's Holy Sugar, because we are making a baby chick. Baby chicks are so easy because this is a perfect opportunity to test your straightness of your lines. Try to create a pointed shell, but if you mess up, it's just gonna look like a broken shell, right? If you're a little bit crooked, if you're a little bit like rounded, it's just gonna still look like a broken egg. So I would suggest using this moment to practice dexterity with your hands and keeping your lines straight. Try to aim for straight lines, and if you don't, it's still gonna look so heckin' cute. So on my long nail length, I'm just taking my brush and I'm just making sure to take myself down straight. I'm angling myself and then bringing myself down straight, and then starting at the beginning of that last line and then bringing it down again a different direction. Now with this nail art look, I did have to go over my lines again. I did have to do it twice just because this polish isn't the most opaque white polish I own, but unfortunately with this nail art, I had to go back over my lines. It's not that big of a deal, and it gives you a little bit more practice for that dexterity. I then took Holo Taco's One Coat Black and dotted the eyes. Again, this is another thing where you can make the eyes as close as you want, far apart as you want, one bigger than the other. It's gonna look cute no matter what. I would suggest trying to aim for some semblance of symmetry. That way you can practice it, because dotting actually is a skill set as well, as you want to make sure your dots are similar sizes. So just practice. With my dotting tool, I never come straight up and down as hard as possible. I'm just making sure the polish is touching my nail and not the dotting tool. You don't want to press down too hard because you can pick up the excess layers of polish underneath. Just make sure the polish is touching your nail and not the dotting tool. I know it sounds a little convoluted, but when you get used to floating your top coat and whatnot, this is going to start to make a little bit more sense. You just want to bring down the dotting tool and just boop. And then for the beak, again, I was aiming for a little bit of symmetry. You just take your brush with an orange polish. Today I'm using China Glaze's Takes Two to Mango. You just paint a small dot. It doesn't have to be a huge beak. It could be small, it could be large, it could be whatever you want it to be. I would aim for trying to be as straight as possible, again, just to practice that dexterity, but if it's not straight, that's 100% fine. It's still gonna look like a baby chick. Now, I did leave the cleanup process in here because I've been asked time and time again, how do I clean up my cuticles? So I just use an angle brush that I got off of Amazon, and I just take a little bit of acetone while the polish is still wet and clean up my cuticles. I don't like saying that you need things for nail art, but I would say a clean up brush is probably one of the things you need. Now, you don't need the specific one I got. You don't need that specific one. Mine was like $4 off of Amazon in a pack, which was pretty nice. And other brands have their own cleanup brushes and whatnot. I know the e.l.f. like eyeliner brush is very, very popular in the nail polish community because it's extremely cheap and it's good for cleaning up your cuticles. Again, I don't like saying you need something for nail art, but a cleanup brush has upped my game 100%, and it's a worthwhile investment, especially since cleanup brushes normally cap out at about $4. I mean, Holo Taco's is a little bit more expensive, but that's a branded cleanup brush, so you can find one fairly cheap. And again, make sure to wrap your tips. Please do not forget to wrap your tips when you do your nail art. Now with the short nail art technique, I decided to forego the little top of the egg because it still looks like the chick is coming out of the egg, even if it does not have a shell hat. So the same exact process, but this time just the bottom. It is so achievable and the effect is just the same. I feel like it is so cute and adorable, and my fiance immediately was like, cute chick. And he wasn't just talking to me. The next nail art look that is up is Peeps, those little marshmallow bunnies. Now, I chose this look specifically because it helps you practice weight with a dotting tool. I am using the same exact dotting tool while making 2 different sizes with this dotting tool. I'm pressing down a little bit more for the big one and a little bit less for the top one. This is a great way to practice your dotting skills. And then you just throw little rabbit ears on top and it gets the effect across just enough. Again, this is just nail art. It just needs readability. And I was actually shocked. This was the first nail my fiance got right away. He was like, those are Peeps. And I was surprised he got on. Now for the ears, Peeps naturally have a little bit further away ears, so I tried to aim for that. They're not airplane ears where the ears are just flat. They are still angled, so you want to make sure you're taking your brush and starting from the head. You want to start from the head and then pull out. You don't want to start from outer space and then pull into the head. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult to visualize as you're painting. You can try that if you're having a bit of trouble, but it's just a teeny bit easier to start from the head and then work your way out and painting a straight line. I then took a small dotting tool and just dotted their faces. Again, the same exact dotting tool for all 3 dots. You want the mouth to be a little bit smaller and the eyes to be a bit bigger, and it really just gets the effect across. I also then painted some little ears just off the side of my nail to give a visualization or just to give it motion of like there are other rabbits off this canvas. It just really makes the eyes dance and it's a lot more interesting to look at. So you just paint little V's off the side of your nail and boom. And again, this is perfect for short nail art. Now, I could not fit all 3 colors of rabbits on this nail, but I did get little blue ears off on the side and I feel like the effect is just the same. I feel like it is so cute. Now, I did come into an issue with my long nail art and you might have noticed it. I did make my top coat bleed. Holo Taco's 1 coat black did bleed on me. It happens occasionally and I did not wait long enough for it to dry. So again, you want to just make sure, take the 5-minute little breather, roll out your shoulders, maybe even 10 minutes to make sure your black polish is fully dry. It happens to all of us. Sometimes you get your polishes to bleed and just make sure to float your top coat. The next nail art look that is up, I chose this specifically because I feel like practicing your line weight and the straightness of your lines is extremely important, and there's no better opportunity than an Easter egg. Now, Easter eggs are definitely very difficult. They look very simple, but you can even tell on my own nail art that I was crooked with my lines. I do have a bit of an issue because I do have a giant camera in my way and I can't see. I have to paint my nails like this while painting and recording. So my lines are extremely crooked. But even with crooked lines, my line weight's not perfect. It still looks like an Easter egg and you can just say, it's an Easter egg that you did with your kids, you know? I think that gives it a little bit of an extra cute if you just say on your Instagram captions, Easter eggs I did with my kids. This is a great opportunity to practice just being straight with your lines and your line weight. Now, what do I mean by line weight? It is keeping consistency along that line, making sure it is the same exact width throughout. Painting, because you're working with a brush moves, and the more pressure you put on it, it will start to spread a bit, and then your line width will get a little bit thicker as you go along. So this will give you a perfect opportunity to practice your dexterity with that, to make sure that you can keep consistency, a consistent pressure, a consistent movement along with your brush. It is one of those things that practice makes perfect, and this is a perfect opportunity to practice that because Easter eggs are so simple. You can mess them up and they will still look heckin' cute. So I just painted a couple straight lines, I did a couple dots with my dotting tool, and I did a couple zigzags. The zigzags are simple enough. So you just want to take your brush, and when you're painting your little zigzags, you want to paint one line going diagonal and then start from that first point and then bring it down again. This is just way easier. It's way easier to paint from here to here than it is from here to there, because now you have to line up two things. If you start where your first one started, then you only have one point to match up. So when you paint your zigzags, you always want to make sure first line, whoop, I'll just use my arm. First line here, you start here, paint it down, and then when you do your second line, start here. Start at the start. Whoop! When you paint the next line, now we're starting here, you want to start here and then paint wah. Wah. If that makes sense. You're watching me do it right now. You're watching me do the thing I said. And yeah, I'm trying to use my stupid arms to talk you through. Okay, so yeah, you did watch me do it one way and then the other way. But you can definitely tell when I did the other way, those lines are a little less like angled and they're a little bit more straight. Also remember, I'm navigating around a camera and a light source. I'm trying my best not to smack everything, so I'm also struggling that way. And there you have it. 4 simple nail art looks for beginners, or to practice your skill sets. I hope this video was helpful. I feel like it's not. I still am having such trouble doing this. I'm having a hard time teaching. I just feel like my teaching is just like, do it. Just draw the rest of the fucking owl. You got this. Nail art is 100% practice, practice, practice. You need to practice to get good. You need to practice. Your 5th nail will always be better than your 1st. The more practice you have, the better you will get. I hope this was helpful. Bye! So I using the wide flattle, I'm just taking my, and there you have it. 4 simple nail art looks for beginner.